Hello, my name is Mark. We've just installed our Modulopool swimming pool. What a pleasure to have a traditional swimming pool, and what satisfaction in having managed the entire installation. The first thing we did was to decide with the whole family the location of the pool, listening to everyone's opinions, the sun, the view, the proximity of the pool to the terrace. Once everyone was in agreement, we drew an outline to see how it would look. We then contacted a landscaping company to dig the hole for the swimming pool. Next, we installed the Modulopool modules. It's truly child's play. The ironwork and concrete in the framework are the secret to a guaranteed good structure, made from reinforced concrete. After installing the lining, the only thing left to do was to lay the border and connect the filtration system. Finally, we filled the pool and had our first swim. In this DVD, we'll describe the different stages for assembly. You'll see that the order given and a good methodology are key to the success of this installation. For more details, consult the technical specifications accompanying this DVD, which explain each stage in more detail. For successful assembly, follow my instructions meticulously and respect the fundamental stages for assembling your swimming pool. First, we have the landscape stage. This is followed by the assembly of the structure of the basin and adjusting and securing the structure. The next stages are installing the ironwork, pouring the concrete, creating the embankment, installing the liner and connecting it to the filtration system, filling the pool and positioning the border. First of all, check the content with the help of the owner's checklist. This will enable you to check and control all parts delivered and therefore validate your guarantee. What is the ideal place for the construction of a pool? I'm sure that you already have an idea. However, let me give you some advice. Choose the sunniest place possible away from vegetation. Take the design of the garden after the construction of the pool into account, as well as the alignment of the pool in relation to the elements already present on the terrain, including the house and the borders of your property. As you'll see in the technical specifications, we advise the installation of a decompression well. This is an optional prevention measure in all cases, especially if it includes a drain. So don't hesitate to consult the technical specifications where you'll always find good advice. We'll now determine level 0. Level 0 is the higher level than a peripheral casing, below which is the border or the flat level, as you may prefer to call it. Level 0 is very useful if your land slopes and you wish for the entire border to be at the same level. Consequently, we take a tree or a post as a point of reference and draw a line. This marking will serve as the reference point throughout the duration of the construction work. First, it will be used by the person in charge of landscaping, who will begin to landscape in accordance with this marking. In order to better visualize the dimension of the pool, you can draw its outline on the ground. You'll find the exact measurements in Pro Forma document number 1. Draw the shape of the basin on the ground, plus a margin of 50 centimeters around the outline for the construction work. This preparation will facilitate the landscaping work. Once everything has been checked, the landscaping work can begin without any problems. Similarly, you can entrust the landscaping company with making the necessary trench between your pool, the poolside control room, and the technical room, which will house all the hydraulic and electrical parts. This trench must measure approximately 55 centimeters in width and 80 centimeters in depth. For more details, see the technical specifications. For the assembly to be simple yet solid, the ground needs to be flat and stable. The solution is a reference track. This involves making a small hollow that's approximately 40 centimeters wide and 3 to 5 centimeters deep, following the outline, which we will fill with black cement or concrete. If the design of the pool has steps, build a small wall approximately 80 centimeters high, which will serve as the main point of support. You can see the exact position in Pro Forma document number 1. When the area is ready for the installation of the Modulopool modules, you can move on to the next stage, assembling the structure. This is it. The landscaping work is finished. Before continuing with the assembly, I'll list the parts. Here I have one of the parts of the structure with its two adjustable parts. A fiberglass rod. An outside corner. A fastening handle. The mould for the inner corner. Liner track. And if relevant, the steps. Now we have everything, let's proceed. This stage must be carried out by at least 2 people. If the design of your pool includes steps, the first thing you need to do is position the steps. Rest them on the small wall constructed, following the indications on the plan. Then position the posts, which will guarantee full stability. Before assembly, we must have all parts of the structure laid out on the ground. To do this, take out the fiberglass rods first and place them together on the ground, near the basin of the swimming pool. Do the same with the liner tracks. Then remove the modules one by one and place them around the basin. We're now beginning the real assembly stage. First, fasten the steps to the corner. Next, fasten the corner to 2 modules that you will have separated beforehand. Slide the fiberglass rods into place. Continue by assembling 3 modules and then inserting the fiberglass rods and so on. Discover a helpful tip before reaching the following corner. The technical specifications will reveal the secret to you. Once the corner is assembled, nail the modules together with the handle supplied. You will then see your swimming pool taking shape. The assembly process is very intuitive. You'll see how you will immediately learn the trick and get faster and faster. If you have any queries about this process, consult the technical specifications. Always have this to hand. Now place the round parts in each inner corner. These moulds make it possible to construct corners in the pool that are uniform. Once the structure is assembled, it's time to level and secure it. To do this, we must install the sections that will make it possible to fasten the liner. Place the liner track in the upper part of the modules. Important, ensure that the joins between the tracks are not at the joins between the modules. In order to adjust them to the size of the basin of your pool, make the connections in the central part, not in the corner of the structure. The structure is adjusted in the second stage of construction. 2 people will always be required to adjust and secure it. This stage is simple but very important. Take the necessary time to carry this stage out methodically without rushing. In order to control and adjust the positioning of the modules, we should begin with the lower diagonal measurements. On the model we've installed, the diagonal measurements were 8.94 meters. Consult the technical specifications to find out the dimensions for your pool. At this point, the structure can be moved slightly to obtain equal diagonal measurements. Once the diagonal measurements have been adjusted, fasten the feet in the 4 corners. Then, with the help of a cord, you can align the rest of the parts. Once the walls are straight, fasten all the modules to the ground. Repeat the process of checking the diagonal measurements and their alignment in the upper part. In order to secure the upper part of the modules, use boards on both sides of the corners. To ensure that the length of the pool is maintained, use the cables supplied in the adjustment kit. Its simple installation is described in the technical specifications. The structure is now taut and correct on all sides. It's been stabilized and leveled. The diagonal measurements and straightness of the structure have been checked. You can now move on to the ironwork stage. At this point, the structure of the pool has been installed securely. Before pouring in the concrete, we will shape the structure. Your order includes the specific clamps for the posts. Proforma document number 2 describes the quantity and the quality of the additional ironwork that you require. Place a clamp on each post. The assembly of the upper part will be made with the wire mesh, which you will shape yourself with a bend in each corner. Make a double belt and fasten the wire mesh to the clamps. Repeat this in the lower part of the structure. Inside, you'll have less space, which means that the wire mesh must have smaller rods in order to be able to maneuver it effectively. Next, install the grill. To do so, begin by covering the bottom of the basin. Position the fastening parts and the hooks. Using the stonemason's trick, slide stones beneath the grill to ensure that it remains perfectly raised. The structure is now ready for the concrete. To order the concrete from the company that will supply it to you, follow the specifications and amounts indicated in Concrete Proforma document number 3. Everything is ready to pour in the concrete. We've fastened and secured the structure and carried out the ironwork stage. In the case of rain or threat of rain, this stage should be postponed. In my order, I've requested a mixer with a swivel arm and a conveyor belt, so that the truck does not have to move on the land while pouring in the concrete. With the help of Henri, my neighbour, and Claude, my brother-in-law, this stage has taken us half a day. Begin by pouring the concrete into the posts of the modules. The indicators will show you when they're full. Once the posts are full, smooth down the upper part of the framework. Try not to leave lumps. Leave a layer of 0.5 centimetre in order to facilitate the positioning of the border. To complete this stage, pour the concrete into the bottom of the basin. The finish should be as smooth as possible. In my case, Henri and his expertise achieved wonders. As you smooth down the bottom of the basin, use a sponge on the walls to remove any residue of concrete that may have been spilt onto the walls whilst being poured out. Once this stage has been carried out, we must wait 28 days for the concrete to be perfectly dry. Once the concrete is perfectly dry, we can begin the stage to create the embankment. This embankment is created with gravel of 0.6 of a millimetre. The calibre of gravel prevents compacting and promotes peripheral drainage. The majority of the work is now over. It's time to proceed with a good clean and store away the tools. Once the entire area surrounding the pool is clean, it'll be time to go to the bottom of the pool. The area surrounding the pool is clean and accessible following the creation of the embankment. Before positioning the felt, the foam and the liner, we should proceed to clean the whole area meticulously to ensure that no residue remains in the bottom of the basin. This is a fundamental aspect for maximum enjoyment of the swimming pool in the future. Important: this stage must be carried out just before installing the liner, in order to prevent any type of dirt remaining below the felt or the liner. For the liner to be as flexible as possible, leave it outside for a whole day at a temperature of approximately 20 degrees. If it's the winter, place it in a room with heating. In the case of rain or threat of rain, this stage should be postponed. Begin with the cleaning. Clean the wall. sweep and hoover the lining using a professional hoover. Repeat this until the surface area of the basin is perfectly clean. If the surface area of the bottom of the pool is very irregular, proceed to smooth it down before positioning the felt. When the surface area of the basin is clean, work barefoot or with socks. With 2 people, fasten the double-sided adhesive around the entire upper part of the structure. You can fasten sections of approximately 2 meters. In my opinion, it's much easier. Then spread the foam over the walls, ensuring that it's even, without folds and without touching the bottom. You'll begin and finish where you place your poolside control system. For the joins, make a small cut without overlapping. For the bottom of the pool, after ensuring again that it's perfectly clean, spread the felt over the whole of the surface area after sticking down part of it. In the case of any surplus, cut the pieces at the level of the walls. Place the liner at the bottom of the pool, positioning it correctly. Unpack it without using sharp objects. Unfold the liner, positioning the edges in the corners of the pool. The edges are indicated by a marking. The liner is fastened easily by placing the upper tab into the liner track. If relevant, start with the steps. Once the steps are done, position the corner well and continue throughout the swimming pool. This delicate operation is slightly more complex over the final meters, as the liner is slightly larger, so that it will be adjusted subsequently with the pressure of the water. For the final centimeters, Henri used a tool made from half a peg to exert force in order to correctly insert the liner into the liner track. Important: never use sharp objects, as they could puncture the liner. Once the liner is in place, you need to adjust it. If the weather is good and the temperature is pleasant, make the most of this time to take a good break and give yourself the satisfaction of contemplating your work. During this time, the liner will store the heat and will be easier to handle. You should then redistribute the liner and adjust it to the basin. Begin by making small, sharp movements with your feet from the center to the walls. Remove all folds in the liner. The parts that have wrinkled slightly pose no problem, as they will be smoothed out under the pressure of the water. In order to apply the liner in its correct location, proceed to hoover out any air between the structure and the liner. Use an industrial hoover without a bag. If your pool has steps, place the hoover near the exit corner. If not, place it next to any of the 4 corners. Lift the necessary part of the liner to slide the hoover pipe towards the lower part of the module. With a sheet, cover the open space in the upper part of the liner and create a void for 15 minutes. During this time, continue to remove the final folds by smoothing the liner down, using the movement of your hand towards the walls. Make the most of filling the basin with water in order to position the poolside control system onto the basin. With 2 people, put the poolside control system into place carefully. Connect it easily to its filtration system by means of the 2 connection pipes located in the back of the poolside control system. Connect the low-voltage cable to the control panel and protect it. Follow the instructions and diagrams in the technical specifications document for correct installation. It's compulsory to entrust a professional electrician with a connection to the electrical distribution network for it to comply with the relevant regulations and to benefit from the Modulopool guarantee. At this point, the liner is in place and you are in the process of removing the air from between the structure and the liner. Begin to fill the pool, keeping the hoover switched on. Fill the basin to a height of approximately 2 centimeters and switch off the water. You can now remove the final folds. Enjoy the first time you put your feet in the water. Switch the hoover on again and switch the water on. The hoover pipe should be lifted as the water rises, maintaining a distance of approximately 10 centimeters. When the water reaches a height of 1 meter, remove the hoover pipe and fasten the liner back down again. Begin to lay the border around one side by placing it in the 2 corners. At this point, you will define the width of the joins and the inner rim of the border. Once this is clear to you, lay the border around the whole pool. Adjust and glue down. Remember the tips and advice in the technical specifications. Add the finishing touches supplied in your order in a sand color to the joins. Your pool is ready. Your pool is ready for you to experience your best summer moments.